Hey, what's up guys, it's the 8-Bit Yeti here. Today we're doing a tier list, this time on patch 4.18. Um, and if I sound a little bit sick, it's because I kind of am. I have a stuffed nose, and what are you gonna do? But let's begin. First off, we have Agni. Agni is, like many tier lists, gonna be in the A tier, just because, he's the standard balanced god, he's the standard mage. He's really just balanced. So that's why he's gonna be in the A tier. Really nothing special about Agni. He's gonna be chilling there. The B god is gonna be in the B tier, Ama-Zen-Cub. This amounts to a couple of reasons. One reason being he's outclassed by most other hunters in the game. He might actually, he might be an A minus tier, but we'll put him in A minus tier for now. Because although usually I'd put him in B tier, he's seeing a little bit of a rise in mid lane, which is kind of odd. But now that Hide of Urchin is kind of being seen as a decent item on mid laners, he's being picked up more because it amounts for one of his major weaknesses, the lack of mobility. And this is a very mobility based meta. There's most of the gods that are decently high tier to high tier. I think all of them have mobility. They all have a dash, they all have a leap, they all have some sort of ability to get in and out of the fight. Ama-Zen-Cub doesn't. That's why he usually gets camped, especially in dual lane which is his traditional role, but we might see that shift. The reason you might pick him over some god which is about his level, which would be like Artemis, is because he has the ability damage. So, and that's actually what we're seeing more of, a little bit more of AMC middle, because of the Hide of Urchin, and it'll negate his big flaw of movement, but I don't know. He might be B tier still. I'm going to keep him in B tier because I haven't seen enough of AMC to say that he's anywhere higher. But the other two reasons he is bad is because none of his abilities provide CC immunity, and none of them provide any hard crowd control. And with these reasons, Ama-Zen-Cub kind of suffers when it comes to safety, because he just gets so countered by like any sort of CC, because he has no CC immunity. And he can't CC enemies so that they can't, crowd control him back. It's just all in all pretty brutal for this guy. But we'll see. He might have a rise because of the mid lane popularity. Next up is Apwash. Gonna be in the C tier because it's Apwash. I don't know if I need to explain this more than that. He's got the burst, which is cool and all, but so many mages provide burst. That's kind of their job. But what he doesn't have, like some other mages, is mobility. And mobility is one thing. He also doesn't have any early game. His early game is really poo-poo garbage. What are you going to get? Your 1? You're not going to hit the whole wave sometimes. If you do hit the whole wave, it's not doing too much damage. Your 3 is technically the best thing to go for, and that's not hitting the whole wave. So you're just, all in all, level 1, your clear is atrocious compared to any other mage. It's even probably worse than Thoth's clear, to be honest. That's just my opinion, but it's just so bad. Yeah, and it's really hard to run Dirty Bubble on him now, especially since CDR items have been nerfed, protection items have been nerfed, just all around. It's pretty hard for him to work. He has got no hard crowd control if there's no healing on the enemy team, so it's really relying on the enemy team comp. So, all in all, just not that great of a god right now. The lack of mobility, if I haven't stated before, is one of the major issues. Amaterasu, she's pretty good right now in my opinion. She's got the auras that help the team. Her ultimate provides a good amount of CC. Her 3 provides a good amount of CC. It's a decent dash. It's a decent engage. Just all in all, a decent god. Her early game is what's pulling her back in my opinion, though. If she had a good early game, she would be definitely higher up on this tier list. Okay. Alright. Next up is Anhur. Anhur, I think, is just going to be in the A tier. He doesn't scale too well off of the Devos crit build because he relies a lot on the Transcendence mana, but all in all, he's a decent hunter for early game. He's got the abilities. One of the biggest issues he has early game is like level 1, 2 when you're clearing the wave. If the enemy Guardian can just body block your clear and you have nothing, which really hinders him, and that's why I'm not putting him any higher. But his ultimate's on a shorter cooldown, which means early game, he's going to get a lot more kills. Late game, he's got a 75-second beats, which is pretty decent. But, like I said before, it doesn't scale well into late game as other hunters, which is going to keep him in the A tier. Next up is Anubis. I think he's a little bit better than Apwash. That's just my opinion. Apwash is just poo-poo. But Anubis is a higher tier poo-poo. He's got cool abilities that do a lot of damage, but other mages do a lot of damage, and he gets rooted for half his abilities. His 1 and his 4 both root him in place, which makes no sense for God without any escape. He's got 1 hard crowd control effect compared to Anubis's or Apwash's technically 0.5. We'll give him a pseudo hard crowd control. Depends on healing and stuff. But if he lands his 2, he's always got crowd control. Anubis, that is. So he's got decent self-peel. However, like I said before, no mobility. He's got one of the lowest base movement speeds. All in all, just mounting to a subpar god at best. The only time you'll ever play him is if you want to either pub stomp or if you want to burn down objectives such as Gold Fury and FG. Next up is Ao Kuang. Ao Kuang, in my opinion, is S tier. That is because of the warrior jungle meta more than anything. The execute really helps with that. Being able to counter tankier builds through the execute, because the way executes work is just HP threshold. As soon as any god reaches that threshold, they can be killed by Ao Kuang, unless they have bees or CC immunity in some sense. But that means you don't have to do 30% of their health. You can just kill them at 30%, which is really useful because more protections mean it's harder to get them below 30% and such. It's harder to kill, so Ao Kuang is just really good on that front. His build diversity is really nice. The only reason he's not that great, however, is his level 1 wave clear is pretty bad. His early game in general is not the best. Can be worked around, but again, not the best early game. But all in all, a pretty strong god to be playing in the jungle. Next up is Aphrodite. In my opinion, Aphro is outshined by her counterparts Hel and Chang'e, mainly Hel. However, Hel is falling, hint hint, spoilers and stuff. But Aphro's pretty decent. She's got the heal. She's got the heal only on 2 targets though, so it kind of hurts. Anti-heal really hurts her. It takes a long time for her to get rolling, which hurts her. She's not that much of a front line, so it's harder to put her in a role, so you can't play her in solo as easily, you can't play her in mid as easily, because her damage is lackluster compared to other mages. Just all in all, her biggest issue is the fact that she doesn't have a place in the meta. She can't find a footing in the meta, because the way she's made is like a supporting mage, which is really rare, and she doesn't do it too well. But who knows? We'll see what happens with Aphro, but I doubt she'll be any higher than A-. Next is Apollo. Apollo is pretty good. One of his biggest draws was the fact that, well, he's got 2. One of them being he's got the global ultimate. That's still there. His other one was split pushing. That's kind of really been hit hard ever since the towers buff. It's really hard to split push now that the towers got buffed, so it's a lot less likely you'll see people doing that. That's why Apollo is he's better than most other hunters in my opinion. However, he kind of falls short on certain senses. He's got the instant mez, he's got a decent dash, he just falls short on the wave clear especially, compared to other hunters. And that's kind of bringing him back. His attack speed steroid's nice, but the things he does better than other hunters has kind of been indirectly nerfed. Arachne is, I don't know what to put you. We'll keep you in that tier. Arachne, I don't know what's up with this. Like, in casuals, she stomps people, right? But anywhere other than casuals, or like maybe in like, once you get to like gold, you're stopping the stomp, Arachne stomp. Because, I don't know, her team fight is just pretty bad. Like, you don't have much of a team fight presence compared to other assassins. And assassins aren't even that good in the meta anymore. It's really warriors that are doing, or bruisery assassins that are doing really well. So, not going to see much of Arachne. Her only escape is in her ultimate, which is on a 90-second cooldown. So, either you're going to have to snowball, or if you're not snowballing, you're useless. So, other gods just do that technique better than her. So, no reason to pick her over those. Ares. Ares is pretty decent. He's got high aggression, low clear, because let's be real here, guys. Ares clear is absolute ass cheeks garbage. He's probably got the worst Guardian clear. I'm trying to think of anything that has worse Guardian clear than him. I don't think I can see any off the top of my head, but who knows, maybe there is. But in my opinion, he's got the worst Guardian clear out of any Guardian, but he makes up for that in his high aggression and high damage. He's got one of the highest damages, on the other hand, of any Guardian. He just has to hit that damage. He also likes auras. I mean, his passive's not the best, but he gets aura benefits, so stuff like Jade Emperor's Crown, Shogun's Kusari, and stuff like that really benefit him, so there's that. His ultimate's better now that Stone of Guy's not even an item anymore, basically, so pretty good god all around. Just got no wave clear, man. Just got no wave clear. Artemis! Artemis is better than AMC because of CC and CC immunity. They're really similar gods, other than the one thing AMC has over Artemis is ability damage, but Artemis scales better into late game because she scales more off of the crit devos than AMC. She also has a safer early game because she can, you know, press 4, press 2, and just like speed boost out of there while stunning all enemies behind her and getting CC immunity in the process. Her CC in general is just pretty nice with her ult and her 1. She's got a slow on her 3, and her attack speed is better. I don't know about her movement speed, but I'm pretty sure her attack speed's better. Just all in all, better AMC in the sense that in the ADC role. However, if AMC is played more in the mid role, we'll have to see, because they might flip places soon. Or maybe Artemis will just stay and AMC will move up. We'll see, though. Artio. Artio, I think, is going to drop. I don't know. By the things I've seen in the nerf, I think she's going to drop. The reason being, her passive, I think, is going to have like 1% off, and I think it's stacked up to 8 times, right? So it used to be 24% penetration, now it's only like 12%? Or no, 16%. Yeah, 16%. So that's 8% less, which is pretty massive, especially when it comes to shredding Guardian protections, which is really nice. That means her damage is greatly hindered. Her 3, which is one of her better poke abilities on her Druid form, and one of her initiate/disengage on her bear form, is also getting a cooldown increase, so you're gonna have to play a lot more carefully on that. But we'll see. She might just stay really high tier, because I think the amount of things, but she probably will be more in line with other Guardians. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Athena. Athena is really strong. She's got 3 roles she can play: jungle, solo, and support. These 3 roles, allowing her... Okay, wait. Let me rephrase. The fact that she can play 3 roles gives her an advantage over most other Guardians, because most Guardians can play 1, and if they're lucky, 2. 2 roles being solo and support. Support is what most Guardians play. Solo, some Guardians are lucky enough to play it. And that, some Guardians perform better in solo, like Artio, but, you know, there's that. But Athena can also play the jungle role, and she can play it pretty effectively. And that's because of her global ultimate, which gives her high ground over most other Guardians. I think the only other Guardian with a global ultimate is Terra, so that just gives her high ground over them. The other god... the other thing that Athena's got going for her is her 2. Her 2 is really strong. The 2-second taunt at max rank, really useful, because if you're a support, you're going to be maxing that first, and that just gives you a lot of CC. It sets up so many things, especially with a coordinated team. You're wiping things, and that's why I think Athena's an S-. Next is a Wheelish. She does the things that a Wheelish does, the damage. The only reason she's not performing as well as I would expect her to is because of Artio and her 6-second cripple, and that counters Awilish's big damage point, which is her 2, because that's technically a leap. But yeah, I think Awilish might see a small rise, not too big, so no changes in her place. I think she's going to be A+. You need somewhat of a team to be drafted around her, but if she starts snowballing, it's kind of spooks for the enemy team. Next up is Bacchus! Okay, Bacchus is my man. I love Bacchus, but he's going to be an A+ tier. He's got a good initiate. His ultimate's nice for the damage and CC. Uh, he's got a good amount of CC, good amount of aggression. His lane clears meh at best. His passive is decent with the amount of protections it gives. All around a good god. He's just pretty good as a guardian. He's got decent CC, high protections. His clear is the most lacking part in my opinion of him, but he also has high aggression, making up for that clear. So he's pretty good all around. He's pretty good. Next up is Bakasur. Everyone says he's an ult bot, and that's not false. That's a pretty true statement, pretty accurate. Him and Arachne are very similar, except Bakasur, in my opinion, is a little bit better, but not enough to, change his place on the tier list. I think he stays in his beloved B tier, B for Baka. Yeah, he's not gonna be changing too much. He's got good damage, but he's got no lockdown for it. But he's got true damage, but he's got no lockdown for it. It's Baka. Most gods in the lower tiers have good damage, but most of them also don't have lockdown for it. Baka's really unfortunate. If he had lockdown, he would be super good, in my opinion. We'll see though. I doubt Baka will be any higher than B tier ever since Hog got, ripped and Bologna existed. Next up is Bastet, A tier. Split pushing is not a thing, but they did recently buff her cats to make her better, I guess. I don't know. It's a weird buff. I don't think she's going to be too much better through it, but she gets, 21 power at max rank or something like that, which is pretty decent because all her abilities, I think, have 100% scaling or something like that. So, all around a pretty good god, just, it's best that you got ability-based early game, late game, you're more of poke-based, so do what you gotta do, but all around pretty decent. Next up is Bologna. She hasn't been dominating as she used to. She's fallen off quite a bit. She's still got the great solo presence. She's still a pretty menacing threat. However, there's certain gods that are better than her. She's got a good amount of CC. She's got a good amount of team fight. Her bully potential is pretty high. All around a good god. She's got block stacks along with Athena. Both of those countering crits pretty nicely. Just all around a pretty good god. Next up is Cabrakan. Man, has he fallen off since the beginning. I don't know. He's still got the CC. So I don't want to put him in A-, but at the same time, it's like, when was the last time you've seen a Cabrakan? That was like beginning of Season 4, right? Yeah, when he was played in jungle, but then they nerfed him. Yeah, there was a time when Cabrakan was top tier. Now is not that time. Now it's back to like, he's there. Would you ever pick him over other guardians? Not really. Would you ever pick him in the jungle? Probably not. But he's got damage. He's got CC. So if you want to pick him, there's no reason not to. It's just that there is, because you want to play better gods. Unless you like Cabrakan, in which case, go for it. My man, Camazotz has been rising. He's up here now. Ooh. Last time I put him in like A+, I think. He's gone 2 tiers up. Camazotz, my boy. I don't know what happened, but after his nerf, he's been performing better, which boggles my mind. He's got a lot of sustain. That's one thing. Another thing is he can build Bruiser and still do a lot of damage because of his 1. He also can basically tower dive without any repercussions because of his ultimate. His early pressure is really strong, akin to warriors and such, and that's why he's such high tier, because he's basically a warrior that does a lot of damage because he's an assassin. And he's got a lot of sustain. He's just got all things except for CC, but his slow on his 2 is pretty strong anyway. It doesn't really matter. So all in all, a really strong god in that sense. Cernunnos. I don't know, dude. I'm either putting him in S- or A+. I'll put him in A+. This is really risky. I might get hate for this, but he's not as good as he used to be. He's seen better days, which is fine, dude. I love the fact that Cernunnos is not as good as he used to be. Bless, dude. But I think he's still really pretty strong though. I don't know. It's one of those two tiers. I'll just put him in S minus just to give him a little bit of something, I guess. Even though I hate him. But yeah, he's still got 4 somewhat decent passives in his 1, which is really good. Although some summer stance are better than others. His 2 is pretty decent, although the root's kind of hard to hit if you're trying to clear wave as well. It's not like Neith's 1. His dash is just strong. I don't think... Did they nerfed something about it. I think it was a cooldown or something. And it didn't affect him too much, but the ultimate nerf where it got increased cooldown really did hurt him. So, yeah. But that's good because he needed nerfs and he got them. He got what he deserved. And now he's an S minus or A plus. I don't know. I think I'll keep him in S minus for now, but he could be changing in the near future. Chalk. My main man, Chalk. Homeboy Chalk. Ooh, you are god and a half. Oh, come on, dude. Are you kidding me? Alright. Let's fix this real quick. Okay, we'll put Artemis back. Chalk we'll put in the same tier as these fine fellows. He wins lane. And then what? That's Chalk's motto. Win lane, then what? He's really great at winning lane. His damage falls off late game. He basically becomes just a frontlining sponge. Doesn't do much else late game. Like, sure, you get some heals, you get some protections from your 2. Your ultimate's kind of nice for the knock-up and the knock-up in silence, but, like, there are better warrior ultimates. There are better warrior just non-ultimates, which is the reason some warriors get picked over him. Or, yeah, that's definitely the reason. His passive is completely worthless in the team fight phase because you're never going to get 5 basics off. It's just, also, there's no need to, like, use a free ability. It's just, he's really laning focused. They forgot to put a team fight oriented part to him. He's really good at laning. Like, he's one of the best laners in the game. But as soon as laning phase is over, what do? That's the question he always asks. And that's the answer. A minus tier. Next up is Chang'e. Chang'e will put in A tier. I haven't seen a lot of her. She's pretty good in my opinion. Anti-heal definitely bulls on her. She, like many other lower tier mages, she doesn't have an escape. However, her 2 can be used as an escape. She gets movement speed on all of her abilities when she uses them. If you line up the ultimate properly, you can get massive team-wide stun. It's just, she's got a lot of good in her. It's just like, most of that's situational. Like, her ultimate especially is super situational. But other than that, she's pretty decent. She's got decent clear. Not the best clear, though. Her early game's not the best. Her late game's pretty decent, though, so, you know, we'll put her in A tier. Chiron. Chiron is ability-based hunter. Now, I don't know. He's either an A or A+. We'll put him in A tier for now. He doesn't scale too well off the Crit Devils build. However, he's more of a mid-laning hunter than that anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. The fact that his 1 can proc his passive effect of his 2 is really strong now. He can basically full clear the wave with 1-2 combo early game, and late game, mid to late game, he only needs the 1. He does like Transcendence a lot more than Devos, so that's why I'm not putting him any higher. But we'll see. Maybe he'll rise in mid lane like he did way back when, because he is definitely very safe. He's a very safe hunter. Next up is Kronos. Kronos is pretty strong right now, in my opinion. I don't know if he's S minus tier yet, but he's pretty strong. He's got a lot of damage, a lot of basic attack damage in particular. He's got, however, he did get nerfed pretty heavily on the basic attack damage wise, so definitely not as good as he could be. And also, crit really hurts him, especially when he's ulting. So late game, if you ult and you're in front of a hunter and they get some lucky crits, you're gonna get burned down. But he's pretty good right now. Like, he's not really awful. He's pretty good. Pretty good. Solid. A+ tier god. Does the damage late game, early game not that much. But that's just Kronos. Next is Kokolin. Kokolin is really strong. Really strong. I don't know how strong he is, because I don't know. Kokolin probably doesn't perform that well in casuals because of the way he's complicated, and complicated gods usually don't perform that well in casuals. However, his damage is one of the stupidest for any warrior in the game. The fact that his level 2 is basically uncontestable compared to any other warrior. Uh, his ultimates are pretty good, both of them. The big boy beast form and the normal ultimate. Normal one is probably better in my opinion, although I think no, they do the same amount of damage. But the thing with him is his transformation resets abilities, so you can like unload your entire kit when you're not angry, and then you become angry, then unload your entire kit, then become. I think you can unload it like twice, maybe even not even twice. Just like you can use a couple abilities, and then you'll become unangry again, and then I think you can do it again, which is really dumb for an elongated team fight. He also got anti-heal on his one. His one, dude. The most meta part about it is that it stuns minions. That's like busted. That's the most busted part. Not really. Not really. That's a joke, but it's pretty strong. He's just really strong in the meta right now. I don't know. I might be overrating him. However, his damage is really absurd, and he's pretty strong. Like, really strong. He can't carry games, though. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Well, we'll just put him in. We'll just put him in S plus, just for the now, for the time being. I'll see if I move him later on in the tier list. Cupid is pretty good. He's not the. He's kind of impartial to the Crit Devils build. I mean, he can build it. I mean, he's more of the AoE hunter more than anything. He's the CC based hunter that has the big AoE team fight ult. He's a hunter. Like, he does the huntery things, which is hold down left click. He doesn't do it as well as some other hunters, but he does it decently well enough to earn him a spot in A+. He's got a good amount of CC, which is his main draw, and his ability damage is pretty good, and in my opinion a little bit better than Chiron's because he has the CC on top of it. So, there's that. He's also pretty safe because of the healing, the sustain, the dash, the ultimate peel, the one peel, you know. All around a pretty good god. Daji! I haven't seen much of you. I don't know if it's... You wrote... I don't know. Daji looks to have a lot of potential. Maybe does, maybe doesn't. I think she does have a good amount of potential. But she has a really hard time with tankier characters. And those are the characters that are being played more. So, it kind of sucks to be Daji, to be honest. Because she's like enhanced Loki. And Loki doesn't like tanky characters, so why would Daji, right? But, you know, same thing as Ares, Stonagaya removal, helped her ultimate and stuff. Just the same old with Ares, but an assassin. Erlong is there. He's got his paper company going. He's doing his thing. You know, what a kid, dude. What a cool kid. I don't know what to say about Erlong. He's got the taunt, that's pretty big. He's got the healing, that's pretty big, although it does get shut down by Odin Cage. He's got the knock-up, he's got the root, he's got the hastened effect. You know, pretty good god all around. Just all around a pretty solid solo laner and sometimes jungler. Not much more to add on that. Fafnir! Fafnir is really pretty strong right now, in my opinion. He's not as strong as some other Guardians that we'll be getting to later, I think, maybe. Because magical hunters have kind of... he's pretty high still, I think. Just the way his 2 works just really allows you to push down objectives. His draconic form is really strong. He does require a later game team comp to surround him so that he can make use of his 2. Yeah, he's got a decent high mobility. He can reset abilities with his ultimate. He's got a good amount of CC, especially in his ultimate. 3 into 1 is really easy if you land it all. He's got a good amount of damage. Just all around a pretty good god. It just needs to be in a mid to late game scenario when his 2 is online, his 1's online, you know. Just everything about him is online. He's really good at pushing objectives, though. Both towers and the killable ones such as FG and Gold Fury. Next up is Fenrir. I don't know. Fenrir is pretty strong, in my opinion. However, I haven't seen him played at all, so we'll keep him in A tier, because I don't think I've seen Fenrir since Season 2. I think that's because... Or no. Season 3. Whatever season changed it from buff start to lane start, because that's when Fenrir got meh. Because his lane start is a movement ability, and that's his leap. Either that or you have to stack 5 basics to get his 3. You know. His level 1 clear, although not bad, is just unsafe. That's why he's not picked. And if he was, I feel like he's pretty strong, because it is a bruiser jungle meta, so I would feel like he would be strong. However, he isn't that strong, so we'll see. We'll see. We'll have to see. We'll have to find out. We'll have to sniff around, do the cool prairie dog thing or whatever. Freya's still really strong, just longer this season progresses, or this meta progresses, the more appealing crit hunters build seems, and kind of hurts Freya a lot because crit is scary because you can't build it as a mage, which is great, but it's pretty scary. It's pretty spooky. It's pretty spooky damage. Crit's cheaper, so although Freya does come online really early now, crit is still really cheap. Lifesteal helps outbox Freya because the more lifesteal you get, the more damage you didn't take from her 1-2 combo, and then once that's on cooldown, she can't box you. So, yeah. She's still really strong, don't get me wrong. She's just not as strong as before. Ganesh! Ganesh is really frickin' strong, bruh. Like, he's either S or S-. I would pull him in S right now. His damage is really good. His lane clear is really good. He's got a good CCs. His ultimate's good. There's just nothing really that bad with him, to be honest. Like, he provides what he provides for his team. The only drawback is the fact that he's guaranteed to play the support role, because that passive really doesn't work in any other role. But, you know, in the support role, he does what he does really well. He's one of the best at what he does, if that makes sense. His ultimate's super strong. If you combo it well, it just shreds people. His damage is absurd. The fact that it still exists the way it does is kind of wild to me, but that's another thing. His silence is one of the strongest because it doesn't get affected by diminishing returns, because it's like a channeled silence. So all in all, just a really strong god. And I think he's one of the best with Fafnir, dude. Next is Geb. Geb is good. Geb is good. He's got the shield. Crit is good. He's good against crit. Makes him pretty good. His ultimate's a big AoE stun. How can that be bad? There's really no universe where that's bad. Geb is back, baby. The last time he wasn't meta was like season 3-ish, I think, when early game was super duper important, and his early game is not the best. However, he's coming in. He's rolling up in the meta with his first ability. He's rolling in, and he's doing his thing. Being Geb, doing Geb things. Just all around pretty strong because of his shield especially. The shield is the main attracting factor. Next up is Guan Yu, dude. My man, dude. I know I love Guan Yu jungle, but he's kind of really bad. Like, he does things kind of well, I guess, but like, he's just not that good. His ultimate's really strong. The rest of his kit's like mediocre, I guess. I mean, he's got a heal. It's not that strong of a heal because it doesn't. I think it's like, although there's some self heals like Sobex, I think it's like the only team heal that doesn't scale off of any power. Maybe Cupid's doesn't, but I think Cupid's does. I don't remember, but I know his heal is just pretty meh compared to other things. He doesn't have that great of a place in either solo or support right now either. Like, he doesn't have that great because in support, not a lot of CC. In solo, not enough early clear. Just all around meh, dude. All around meh. Maybe he'll find a way in the jungle, but other than that, I don't see him being that great in the meta. Hachimon's a new god, so I'm technically not supposed to rank him, although if I would rank him, I think he's A or A+. We'll put him in A because I don't know. I don't think he's that overpowered. His dash is short. You need to land all of your ones to be effective. You can either use your steroid as a steroid, or you have to clear wave, unless you want to stand in the middle of wave, which is risky. Your ult's hard to control, so it'll take a kind of good understanding of Hachimon to understand how to use it. Although this guy shouldn't be ranked yet, I think. No, No, he shouldn't be ranked yet, but we'll put him in the A tier because I think that's where he'll belong once he does go through. Because he's definitely late game, very late game focused, like Artemis, but he's got range, so he's got poke. Hades is pretty cool. He's got that nice pub stompy vibe, except he can actually be somewhat viable, although not too viable, not that viable, but somewhat viable in higher levels of play. He's got that tanky mage feel, but he does have that leap. That leap really helps him. He's got a good amount of healing, sustain. His ultimate's kind of counterintuitive, especially since he's squishier now than before. Maybe we'll see a rework to that, but right now he's pretty strong. He's not that strong. He's just there. He's there. Hades does his Hades thing. Habois is next. I don't know, dude. Habois can sometimes be up here, sometimes be down here. We'll put him down here. We could put him in A tier. If this was a Joust tier list, we'll put him up here, but this is not a Joust tier list, so we'll put him in A- for now. I haven't seen a lot of Habois. That's because he gets picked off really easily. He's got his burst. He's one of the bursties. He's got 3 ultimates. That's the running smite meme, but he's not that safe. He's not that safe to play. He kind of gets hurt in early game, especially. His matchups aren't that great. In jungle, he's pretty decent. However, he lacks the rotations that other junglers provide or can provide. He can build Dirty Bubble, but that's not a thing, so he's not as bruisery as some other junglers. And one of his skirt matchups is Camazotz, and Camazotz right now is pretty high. So there's that. That's just my opinion, though. Let's see, Hell is, thank God she's falling down. Now as a support main, I never liked Hell. That Radius nerf I think hurt her a lot because her clear was pretty strong with it, and her poke was also pretty strong. Now that's a little bit dwindling, so she might fall back down. I don't know how far down, but she might. Her speed boost also got nerfed a bit. So now she just requires more skill to play in the role, specifically support. She also needs a team comp drafted around her. You can't just pick Hell with like a mage and maybe a Zhonghui solo. You need like a pretty frontlining team because Hell's not that great at frontlining. She's decent at it. She's not that great though. So, yeah. Hell, I think, is dropped down from up here to more down here. Hercules. He's Hercules. I don't know what to say about him. Late game his ult's kind of meh. Early game it can get some kills, so if you start snowballing with Hercules, it's scary. His 1-2 combo is pretty useful. It's pretty good at CC. His team fight's decent. He likes that healing ability. He gets protections, he gets power. I don't know. He's good, I guess, but nothing too fancy smancy. Next up is Ho Yi. Ho Yi is pretty strong. His jungle clear is really strong. With his, if you know the ricochets, you can get a good amount of jungle clear. His damage, ability damage, and basic attack damage is both really strong. He's got the AoE teamfight ult. He pairs really well with one of the best supports, which is Ganesh. So, all around a really strong god. The only thing he lacks is an attack speed steroid, but he's got ricochets. And if you land those ricochets, you're doing a lot of work, a lot of damage. Next up is Hunbats. Hunbats is here, I think. I don't know. He's got that clear out ultimate. You never know. You never know how he's gonna do. But right now, whoa, I haven't seen him a lot, cause his ultimate's really his main attraction, and other than that, his abilities are they're pretty cool, I guess. Got a big AoE cone that does damage. You got a Susana like teleport. You got a leap like Bakasura, I guess. And he's got crits in his passive like Circuit. So Circuit doesn't have passive crit, but you know what I mean. He's pretty good. He's got the clear out ultimate. That's always going to be what people talk about, is his ultimate. Other than that, he's meh. Without his ultimate, he's a meh god. Because he's got nothing other than that going for him. But with that ultimate, he's going to put in work. He's not an ult bot by any means. He still has a kit, unlike some other gods. Bakasura. But, like, the best time to play Hunbats is when he has his ultimate. So, I'll keep him an A+ tier. I don't think he's any higher than that, though. Isis, probably A tier. Her passive, I think, got changed a bit. I think it gives, like, 10% CDR or something when max stacked or whatever, and stacks don't get reset when you die. So, all around pretty good, right? Except, you know, Isis doesn't scale that well into late game like other mages. Her ult's really nice. Her ult's really strong. Her Spirit Ball is strong. She just gets outclassed by some other mages. And I think that's why we don't see as much Isis as we do. She might rise a bit. I don't know. But so far, I don't think so. Izanami. I don't know, dude. I don't know what's up with you. She doesn't scale too well off of lifesteal. Her one draw as a hunter is her good clear, because she doesn't need to use mana to clear, which is interesting and all. And her basics are super interesting. However, I think she gets more basic attack penalty. The basic attack penalty debuff lasts longer on her because you have to wait for it to go out and back, I think. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. So she relies a lot on her 1 for maximum DPS. Otherwise, she's only getting 75% of the DPS if she hits the outswing. And she's only getting the same amount as any other hunter when the in and out. Except I think she gets less because it's mitigating twice. I don't know. There's a lot of math with Izanami. All around, just not that great. Just not that great in general. Her ult's hard to use because it's got such a long wind-up. It's so small. Just, yeah, not the best. Next up is Giannis. Giannis is strong. I'll put him in A+. He's got the 2. He's got a banish. He's got some coolio tricks up his sleeve. But other than that, he's got the global ultimate. He does what Giannis does best for a while now. He's been the same. His biggest issue is his early game. It's not the best. And the fact that really he only has 1 damaging ability, unless you're using the ult as damage or the 1 as damage. But his 2 does do a lot of damage. That's the thing. Although he has technically only 1 damaging ability, if you land it correctly, it does a lot. So I'll put him in A+ tier. Jingwei. Jingwei is pretty nifty. She's safe. She's safe like always. She's been safe. She likes the Crit Devils build a lot, actually, I think. She does really well with that build. I don't know if there's anything else for her, though, that gives her an edge over other hunters. Her level 1... Her clear in general is not the best. Later on, it's decent because you can actually, like, do damage with basic attacks. But early on, it's not that great. Her passive is... She's really safe, if I haven't said that, like, 7 times over anyway. That's really her main draw, is that her safety in lane. She can crit late game, but other than that, no real draw, no real reason to pick her over some other hunters, I guess. Kali, I have no idea where to put you. You've been down here sometimes, you've been up here sometime. We'll just put you in A tier because you've got surprisingly decent early game. I think people underestimate the fact that her 2 does a lot of damage with Bluestone. It does. If you like hit all 3 lashes and stuff. She does kind of rely on that somewhat early kill to get going, though. I guess you could say. I don't know. I haven't seen her played enough. She probably might even be A+. We'll put her in A+, because she does decently against tankier targets. And that's what's being dominating the jungle recently. But she needs to take the time to get good at destroying tankier targets, which takes a good amount of time, and by that time these tankier targets, usually being warriors, would already have been late game for like a good 5 minutes now, and you're behind because they've been snowballing off of your deaths. But, you know, Kali can do her Kali thing late game, no matter what the circumstances. Khepri, your boy, I love Khepri. I have 69 worshippers on Khepri. That might change when this video goes up, but Khepri is my man. I don't know if I should put him up here. I'll keep him in this tier. His revive, especially in ranked, is super strong. Basically allows you to reset one of your teammates' stupid decisions in something like the SPL. It's really, really strong because it allows one of your teammates to go more aggressive and not get punished for it. So something like tower diving is a lot easier with Khepri ult. It's a 5-second Aegis, technically, because it gives you immunity to death. They can't really do much. They can lower your HP, I guess. It's a 5-second immunity to death, plus a little bit of a sprint. Increases your movement speed and makes you immune to slows and stuff. That's the main draw for Khepri. He also has great peel. He's got one of the best Guardian peels, if not the best Guardian peel in the game. So in rank, that's especially useful because, you know, we all have those teammates. But all in all, pretty strong god, just not as strong as something like Fafnir or Ganesh. You know, he's pretty strong. Kukulkan, he is here. He's got, unlike the other gods way down below him, he's like Kabwa, but safer, which makes him better, kind of. I think Hide of Urchin might be really strong on him, too. It'll make him... That's the thing. Habwa might come back because of Hide of Urchin, and Cuckoo might come back because of Hide of Urchin. And Cuckoo, I think, makes a little bit more use out of it because it gives mana, too. So he technically gets, like, 1 power, 2 power from it, although not much. It's pretty funny. You get some power from a defensive item, which is great. Although that's not to be rated at all. But the big draw for Cuckoo is the fact that he is really safe, a lot safer than Habwa. He doesn't have to be near the wave to clear. His ultimate is, if you hit it, you did good. If you didn't, well, yikes. His 1 is a massive slow. It's one of the best slows. I think it's like 50% at max rank at an 8-second cooldown. So it's really easy. It's really spammable. However, you have to get to that late game. His early game clear is not the worst, not the best. It's just pretty good. It's pretty good. He's got good poke. He's good, except for the fact that he has no escape. So that's my whole opinion on Cuckoo. Next is Kumbhakarn. Kumbhakarn he's a god. Whoa, Nelly, he's a god. I don't think I've seen Kumbhakarn since season 2. I played him a couple times, just for the memes. He's not that good. We'll put him in A minus because his CC takes a long time to get out. Like he takes a long time for his CC to. We'll put him in A tier because he's got CC. He's got cool stuff. His ultimate's nice, I guess. He's got immunity to death in his passive, except not really. Kind of just decent, not the best, you know? He's decent, not the best. Really not that good, actually. He's on borderline A. He's borderline A minus. Like, he if there was a tier right here, he would be there. Because he's not that great. He's not that great. Next is Kuzenbro. Kuzenbro, my guy, he's really the best god in the game, to be honest. There's no doubting that. Kuzenbo is actually busted as hell, and Hyra should fix him. But on a serious note, he's getting better next patch, so we might see him rise to A tier in solo lane. I don't know. Like, I don't know how to respond to Kuzenbo being changed at all. We'll see. I think for now, though, he's gonna stay in like A minus because in solo lane he's cool. He's a real cool kid there. He counters crit nicely, but like he's got such anti-synergy in his kit that it's hard to ignore it. Next up is Loki. He's bad. Don't play Loki. It's not that I don't like playing against Loki. It's just that he's bad. Also, I don't like playing against Loki. I don't think no one should have fun if there's a Loki in the match. Your team won't have fun if you have the Loki on your team because it's a 4v5 all the time. Their team won't have fun because it's a Loki. It's just no one has fun. I don't even know if the Loki player has fun. If the Loki player does have fun, stop having fun. Go play a decent god. Loki's just bad. His clear, cool, it's really safe, but you can't contest any buffs in jungle. In solo lane, his clear doesn't come online till later on. He's just bad. Don't play Loki. This is the big overarching moral of the story. Just don't play Loki. Next up is Medusa. Medusa. I like Medusa. She's got that ultimate. Ultimate's really strong. If you look at her, if you don't look at her, it's 75% strong. Pretty strong. It's got a slow, pretty strong slow. It also does 75% of the damage, pretty strong. She's impartial to the Crit Devils build. She likes the Transcendence build more, I think. I don't remember. I think that's what it is because of her ability-based damage, but she can work with the Crit Devils build decently as well. Her ultimate, like I said, is pretty strong. Her 1 is good for early game pressure. Her 3-1 combo super easy. Her 3-2 combo super easy. Her 3 has anti-heal on it, which is kind of random, but it works for her. Her 3 also roots, which makes it super easy to set up other things such as her 2 and 1, like I said before. She synergizes pretty well with gods like Athena. So, all around a pretty good god. Next up is Mercury. Mercury, I think, is going to rise up in the meta. The crit buffs have been helping him, I think. It's just all around. It's going to be pretty decent. It's just like, rip Golden Bow, am I right, laddies? No Golden Bow means his early game clear is absolutely meh. Like, it's really bad. His jungle clear is, like, it exists, and if you have the small circle, it's cool and all, but, like, until you get that big circle, it's kind of hard to work with it. Late game, though, you'll be, like, one-shotting people. And your ult is global, semi-global, so you got that presence going. You also have stuns on your 3 and your ultimate. Pretty good. Slow immunity on your 2 if you activate it. So just all around pretty good god. Just, you know, early game is absolutely atrocious for this dude, so it's hard for him. Ne Zha! Ne Zha is like Mercury, except better early game, in my opinion. The difference between Ne Zha and Mercury, however, is Mercury's not as all in as Ne Zha, but Ne Zha has the early game. So with Ne Zha is, once you go in, you're probably not going out, so might as well hopefully get a kill or two, which is hard from behind, but you can make it work. Crit has gotten buffed, so there's that. Ne Zha is pretty good. Good at blowing things up, however, you know, once you get in, you can't get out. That's just the saying with Ne Zha, so just be prepared to die if you do go in and you don't get a kill. But whatever. It's Ne Zha strong, she's got crit. Next is Neith. Neith has not been her usual sense since Season 2. Oh boy. Neith Season 2 was really strong. She got that ability damage, she was safe, she got that CC, but now she's just kinda struggling actually. She does things pretty decently. She got the clear. Her one roots pretty good. Coolio. Her 3 is really predictable. However, it's decent for an escape that it is. I don't know what to say about her. She's kind of boring, really, to talk about, because she's like Neith. No, she's got CC. She's got damage, but other hunters do things better than her. So there's that. Nemesis. Nemesis is really strong right now because of the, you know, the big, what's it called? The bruiser meta in the jungle. So Nemesis is going to be pretty high on this tier list. She has her ultimate. Her ultimate makes her the tank killing machine she is. I think it's like 40% or something, 30% of the enemy's protections stolen. So not only does she become more of a bruiser herself at that point, she also just steals their protections because she also takes them away, so they don't have those, so they become a squishy boy, and you become thick. So there's that. Nemesis also has her passive, which makes trading really hard with her. She also has, you know, her 80 slows, which is always nice on a god like Nemesis. Her shield's pretty cool. You can attack cancel with the shield. If you do that, she's really strong. All around a good god, but, you know, she's Nemesis. I don't know what more to say. Nike, I don't know why this picture is so blurry. Like, this area around her is blurry. I don't know, that's a side note. Nike's pretty bad. Like, okay, so let's take Nike. Nike has a kit that's below mediocrity. Her 1 is below mediocrity, her 3 is below mediocrity, and her ult's below mediocrity. Her passive is her biggest redeeming quality. Her 2 is necessary to make her below mediocrity kit mediocre, which is really pathetic, to be honest. She's late game. She's really late game. However, unlike Amaterasu, who actually has like a cool kit and stuff, her kit's not only boring, but like her ultimate and her passive are the only real draws to her. Like, it's just really, you always lose lane with her. It's just, I don't know. Nike's just bad. I don't know what more to say about it. Nike's just bad. Nox. Nox is cool. Nox is a coolio kid. She's got CC. She's got the burst damage like a mage should. It's Nox, baby. Nuwa, like Nox, has the burst. About the same amount of CC actually. The thing I forgot to mention with Nox is the fact that her ultimate reduces damage and it's on a low cooldown. The cool thing about Nuwa's ultimate, early game, it does nothing for damage, but it's a global ward. It's a global positioning to see how all enemies are doing. It's also a useful escape tool, you know, just all around pretty decent ultimate. Early game, just not useful for damage. Late game, it's decent damage, and it can also be used to secure kills, scout, just all around pretty good in that sense. Her Clay, I mean, she's probably not that great, but her burst is pretty strong if you can stack up the Clay minions and then use your shard. So, yeah, pretty strong. Odin is next. Odin is really strong, like really strong right now. We'll put him in S- because he's really strong. He's got the big circle that makes healing impossible. He's got the bird bomb, although it did get nerfed. So he might drop down a bit, but right now he's still looking pretty strong. I don't see any way he's not. His ultimate's like one of his main draws late game. His early game is really strong because of his, I don't know how many times I can say strong, but it's really wild the amount of damage his 2-1 combo can still do, even after the nerf, so. Although he's going to drop a little bit, don't think he'll fall too far down. Osiris is pretty strong too, surprisingly enough. His jungle presence is actually not that bad, at least in the SPL. I don't know, he might not be as great in ranked, however, it's Osiris. He's got that frontliney thing about him. He can dive the backline really nicely, which is a thing that most junglers are struggling to do, more or less, kind of. But he's really good at it, so he's really good. What's next? Who's next? Poseidon. Poseidon's pretty strong, I guess. I don't know about Poseidon. Gem is pretty expensive if you want to go for that first. Magus, I guess. Obsidian Shard is Obsidian Shard. I guess you can go Book Rush on him. When it comes to builds, I guess. Aegis just shuts down his kit because although utility Poseidon is really cool and all, coolio, there's no Hastened Fatalis anymore. So it's harder to build into the Gem of Isolation, although it's still really strong on him. But it's just a little bit harder to build into because it's so expensive and such. But he's still pretty strong, just not nearly as his former self, which was the beginning of Season 4. Next is Ra. Ra's got the healing, he's got the ultimate that does the big amount of damage, he's got good objective secure on that sense, he's got objective steal as well. Relatively safe because of his high range. And, yeah, just all around a pretty good god in that sense. I don't know what more to say about him. He's pretty cool, pretty strong boy. It's Ra, dude. Raijin! Hey guys, my prediction was correct. Raijin is not that bad anymore. After the scaling buff on his 1, he's actually seen a good amount of play. Quite a bit amount of play. His 2-1 combo is nice. It does a decent amount of damage. Early game, he's got great poke. If you use your abilities 4 times at base and then just like poke out the enemy before waves collide, he's got great pressure through that. His ultimate, if you can hit it, is strong. His leap still is holding him back a bit. You can sense it, but not as much as before because his damage is so strong. All in all, a pretty good god right now. So, shout out to Raijin, dude. Not old Raijin, but he's still good. He's still good now. Rom is strong. Rom is a hunter that scales. He's probably the best example of a Devil's Crit hunter, I think. Other than maybe like Artemis, but like Rom is actually good because of his dash, his ultimate. Semi-global, allows him to make a somewhat of a global presence if you can land it. Marvels. His clear is not that bad. They nerfed the damage he did by like 5 or something, so not too impactful, but it is a nerf, but he's still really strong in that sense. He's got the late game damage. His steroid is great. He scales well off crit, you know. What more from a hunter do you need, right? This blue boy has it covered. Next up is Ratatosker. He's getting a buff next patch. Or this patch. What am I saying? He's getting a buff patch 4.18. It'll make him interesting. It'll definitely make him interesting. He will probably be a lot better than he is before. Excuse me. I think he'll be pretty strong. He's gonna get some scale increases. His damage is gonna increase. His shred is gonna increase, so he's gonna have more of a team effect too. His CC is still not as good as Thor's, at least when it comes to the stun on his basic abilities, not his ultimate. So we'll see. But all in all, he's gonna get a buff. We'll see how he plays out from there, but I think he'll be pretty strong. Next is Robin. Robin is gonna join the ranks of these boys because he is a strong jungler. He's got the early game, late game he's a dive. It's a little bit harder for him to dive right now because his ult got nerfed a bit, but all in all, still really strong when it comes to diving enemies. He does a lot of damage with his 1, his 3. He's got CC and damage immunity in his 2. So Robin, the Demon King of Lanka, is still pretty demonic. Scylla. Scylla's got what Scylla's always had, burst. Burst damage is Scylla's thing, and Scylla does what she does really well. Scylla doesn't do much else. She doesn't have that much utility. I mean, she's got the root, I guess. But other than that, she's really all about that burst, but she can do that one thing really well. So, not much more to harp on about Scylla. Serket. I don't know where to put Serket. We'll put her in S- for now. I think she's not underrated. I don't think people see the amount of work she can put in right now. Her taunt is always going to be good. She's got true damage. Her 1 scales off a crit. She does a lot of damage. She's also got a lot of mobility. The biggest issue with her is you can't build her bruisery. But in my opinion, that doesn't hold her back too much, other than the fact that you can't build bruisery, so you're not part of the meta jungle clan. But I think she's still pretty strong, especially with that true damage. Next up is Skadi. Thank God she's getting nerfed. Whoo-wee, I hate this god. Her Ice Rink is getting nerfed. Her dog dash attack is getting nerfed. And those were her 2 main things, because let's be real here. Skadi's basically just the Ice Rink, and Calder is basically the god. So, like, that's that. Really. And since the dog's getting nerfed a bit, she's gonna drop from, like, up here to more down here, which is good. We don't want Skadi. I don't like Skadi. Skadi's bad. Well, actually, she's pretty good, but, like, annoying. Next up is Brobeck. My man Sobek is pretty strong, I think, in my opinion. He's got his anti-heal. He's got the pluck. Like, he's pretty strong. I don't know what else to say about him. Anti-heal, pluck is clear. Lane clear is meh, but, pluck always makes up for that. That pluck is just really strong. It's really good at getting picks, which is especially strong in ranked. A little bit less so in, like, SPL, but really strong in ranked. Sets up a lot. Sol is there right now. I don't know. She's really strong. She's really pretty strong. She's got her 2, does a lot of damage. Her ult does a lot of damage. She's really safe with her 3. She's got healing. What more do you need to ask? She's great at pushing objectives. Strong god. Wukong's getting a little bit iffed on, dude. He's getting a little bit of a hit. He's getting a little bit of hit. I don't know. I feel like he's still strong. Actually, I feel like I'm going to move Bellona down. Bellona down, join here. Join these. Oh, well, alright. Come on, Bellona. Stay down here. Put you, can we put you in between? Is that a thing we can do? The answer is no. Alright, this will screw everything up. But Bellona is around with Wukong. I think Osiris can come. No, Osiris can stay. But Wukong and Bellona are about the same in the meta, but Wukong has kind of been struggling. His cooldown nerf hurt him a lot. His, what else was nerfed? Glad Shield was nerfed a while back. All in all, not enjoying these new nerfs, dude. But, you know, it's Wukong. Wukong's going to probably bounce pretty far back. He'll stay in this tier for a bit. Next up is Susano. I'm going to put him in A+, because as long as he's not fighting a warrior in jungle, he's really strong. But as soon as he is fighting a warrior in jungle, it's a little bit hard for him, because he's not the best against non-squishy targets. Which is really interesting, because I've got a friend who plays Susano and Daji, both really good against squishy targets, but not as good against non-squishy targets. But Susano, he's got the CC in his ultimate in his 2, he's got the mobility in his 1 and his 3. All in all, just decent things there. What else is there to say about Susano? His passive's kind of meh compared to before, so not as much mobility there, but he does get a bit more damage, I guess. Just all around decent, just not the best, you know what I'm saying? Next up is Sylvanas. Yikes, my guy. You have been oofted. You are not in a good place. You need a little bit of a help. Sylvanas has no mobility and he's a big hitbox. That's just a recipe for disaster. He's got a heal, which is nice, but he gets caught out super easily because he has a little bit of self-peel, not too much. His 1 and ultimate are only self-peel. And I think, not in his 1, but at least in his ultimate, he's rooted in place, so it's really hard to peel for himself when you're rooted in place. Just a thing. But he's got the healing, he's got the AoE basics, it's just, he's gonna get caught out a lot more than he used to. Terra! Ooh, Terra's getting a nerf. Pretty big one, actually. She's no longer gonna have a root, so I think she's gonna drop from this tier for once, dude. Terra, the thing about Terra is, you know, she has this root, but no longer does she have this root because it's now just a slow. It's not that long either, but it is still a slow that's pretty large, but it only lasts for 1.5 seconds. I think Terra's still going to be strong, don't get me wrong. She's just not going to be the tier that she used to be in because of the way that it's not a root anymore. Roots are obviously stronger than slows because roots stop your movement completely, and slows only hinder it. So, you know, I feel like she's going to be weaker, but not as weak as some people are saying. She's going to be like B tier or something. I don't know. Some people have weird ideas. But, you know, it's Terra. She's going to be A-okay. She's just going to have a slow instead of a root. Thanatos. Thanatos is pretty decent. He just gets super outshined by Camazotz, really. He's got the execute. He's got the healing. But, like, Camazotz. Like, Camazotz, my guy. Next up is Morgan. Morgan's the best god because she can be any god in the game. But on a serious note, she's probably like here. We'll put her in here. She's really strong. She does require a decent team comp, but like she also can, if the enemy's any good at crafting team comps, she's good against them too. Just all around a good god. Even without her ultimate, she's decent. She's got burst. She doesn't even have to be there for the burst. She can just let her teammates do things for her with burst when it comes to burst. Her 1 has a decent stun. Her 3 makes it really, it's really difficult to, it's really easy to ambush with the 3. So, yeah, just all around a good god. Next up is Thor. Thor is here, I think. I think he'll be A+. He's basically Ratatoskr. Ratatoskr and Thor have always been competing for which one is cooler, which one's a cooler kid. Now they're basically the same. So, Thor's got this long stun, good early game damage with his double tap. Late game transfers into more of an CC heavy character. His ultimate gives him global presence. Like, there's that. Just, he's Thor, dude. Flagship god, what are you gonna do? Thoth is getting nerfed a bit. His early game is still gonna be atrocious. His late game is gonna be less strong as before. Less really powerful. His late game right now is really powerful. It's going to be a little bit less powerful, so I think he's going to be in A+ tier. But he's still going to be pretty strong. He's got one of the highest ranges for any god in the game. Next up is Tyr. Tyr is getting a buff. Tyr is getting a buff, and I think he's going to be here. He's got good level 1 and 2 because he's a stance switcher. What else is there? His damage is decent. He's got decent CC. He's got a decent heal. His ultimate gives him safety and also dive potential. You know, he's just all around pretty strong, especially after this next patch. Uller. Oh god, my bad. Sorry, excuse me. Uller. Uller is cool. He's got burst. He just doesn't scale well off of Devos or crit. Vomit. I don't know, man. Vomit just like worse Wukong, really. The thing with him is he's just worse Wukong. So there's really no reason to play him over Wukong. So you know he's gonna be chilling in the A tier while Wukong's in A plus. Vulcan. Vulcan's pretty strong in my opinion. I think he's underrated, especially with Urchin coming through. I think he's gonna be a lot stronger. He's got a good amount of burst. His cooldowns are low. His ult has long range for secure, but it also does a lot of damage. It's a big area of effect. Just all around, I think he's gonna be pretty strong. We'll see though. Xbalanque! Xbalanque's pretty bad. He's not too bad. He's just like pretty bad, you know. His early game's poo poo. His late game's really strong. So I mean, you have to get through the early game to get to the late game. His ult's super counterable if you're good at the game because you can just starter step it. It's really easy. It's Xbalanque. He's early game lane clear is bad. Late game he's putting in the finest, but other hunters just do what he does a bit better. So we're gonna put him in that tier. Jing Chen. Jing Chen. I think Jing Chen is underrated, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. Jing Chen's 1 reduces damage of basic attacks, so I think that's a cool thing. His ultimate though has a really long windup, which is why he's not higher on the tier list. He also plays solo better than support. There's that thing to keep in mind. But he's a pretty decent guardian. He's got a root. He's got a 2 leaps, so pretty good, pretty good. Next up is Ymir. If we're rating this on skins, his Bellyache Ymir, he's gonna be really high up. That's a really good skin. Shout out to Hi-Res for that. But Ymir, he's got kind of Sylvanas syndrome where he's a big target and no mobility. However, unlike Sylvanas, he's got a little bit more self-peel. But also, unlike Sylvanas, he doesn't have a heal. So, it's a win, loss, win. I don't know how to... It's a thing. Ymir is a cool kid because he's ice, made of ice, you know. But his freeze is 2.25 seconds, so it's really strong there. He can be played in the jungle, so he's got versatility. He's got a slow. His wall is nice for, you know, controlling movement and such. So, Ymir's pretty strong. Just no mobility. Zeus probably might actually rise, but for now we'll put him in A tier. If Hide of Urchin becomes strong, Zeus will probably become pretty strong because Zeus, he lacks one thing only, and that's mobility. He's got a lot of damage, but he doesn't have any mobility, and that makes him harder to play right now. And thus, if Hide of Urchin becomes more prevalent, especially on Zeus, he might rise in the meta. We'll have to see though, because Zeus does a lot of damage, and he kind of worked pretty decently with 1 or 2 defensive items too. Finally, we have Zhong or Donger. Zhong Kui, I love the man, but like Zeus, he's got no escape. But unlike Zeus, he's a tankier character that already makes decent use out of Hide of Urchin. So maybe, just maybe, we'll see him rise to an higher tier than A tier. Maybe. That's my hopes, because I love this character. But, I don't know. Hope you all enjoyed. If you have a different opinion, let me know. This is just my opinion. Here's the whole tier list if you guys... Can I get the whole tier list, maybe? There you go. That's about the whole tier list. This is what I believe each god plays at. Your opinions can be different. Tell me if they are. Tell me what gods I might have done wrong. Tell me what gods I did correctly. Just, you know. And thank you guys for watching. See you all next time.